A person's will or conscience is an aspect of his inner self. We all possess an inner voice, a guiding force that whispers right from wrong. This voice of the inner being is a moral compass directing us towards a life of goodness. Just as our mind recalls our life's memories, so our will is a compilation of divine standards. Conscience is not merely a set of learned rules, but a deeply rooted acceptance of moral virtues, similar to the steering of a car, where the car can only move in the direction that the steering turns. Conscience governs the individual in accordance with its acquired norms. The formation of a person helps the conscience to acquire the moral standards. It is not something inbuilt or induced. Depending on the formation, moral standards of the conscience vary. It can range from carnal to worldly to divine. Special care must be taken to adjust it to the higher standards. Listen deeply to the whispers of inner being and align ourselves to the divine, as said in 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Test them all. Hold on to what is good. Then we embark on a path of spiritual growth, moving closer to the divine light. Within each of us resides a complex interplay of forces. We are not merely biological beings driven by instinct, nor are we solely defined by societal constructs. We are, in essence, threefold beings: animal, human, and divine. This tripartite nature creates a constant internal struggle, a battle for dominance that shapes our thoughts, actions, and ultimately our destiny. The animal within us represents our primal instincts, the drive for survival and self-preservation. It is the source of our basic needs and desires, the urges that ensure the continuation of our species. Although it is necessary for our physical existence, this aspect of ourselves needs to be governed by higher personalities. Our human nature is the realm of reason, logic, and social interaction. This aspect considers worldly standards as the reference point and tries to develop our sense of self, our place in the world, and our understanding of right and wrong. This aspect is driven by the yearning for social acceptance. Finally, there exists within us a spark of the divine, a connection to something greater than ourselves. Our moral standards are elevated from a worldly to a divine level by virtue of this divine nature. It is the part of us that yearns for meaning, purpose, and connection to the Creator. Understanding this threefold nature is essential for navigating the complexities of the human experience. It is through recognizing these different aspects of ourselves that we can begin to understand the motivations behind our actions and strive for a life that honors our highest potential. Our animal nature, while essential for survival, can lead us astray if left unchecked. It is the seat of our primal urges, the desires for food, shelter, and procreation that drive us on a basic level. These instincts, while natural, can become distorted and lead us down a path of self-gratification and instant pleasure. The pursuit of physical satisfaction can easily overshadow our higher aspirations. When we succumb to every whim and impulse, we neglect the needs of our soul. We become slaves to our desires, trapped in a cycle of seeking fulfillment in external things. But it is important to realize that our flesh speaks to us through our animal nature. It is simply a part of who we are, a force that needs to be acknowledged and channeled appropriately. Like a wild horse needing a skilled rider, our instincts require guidance and direction. By recognizing the pull of our animal nature, we can begin to exert control over its influence. We can learn to distinguish between our true needs and fleeting desires, choosing to act in ways that serve our higher selves. This requires discipline, self-awareness, and a commitment to living in alignment with our Creator. Our human nature is the realm of reason and logic in accordance with worldly standards. It allows us to navigate the complexities of the world, to build societies, and to create incredible works of art and technology. Yet it can also lead us down a path of egotism, competition, and a relentless pursuit of material success. This aspect of ourselves is heavily influenced by the craving for worldly acceptance. We absorb the values and beliefs of our culture, often prioritizing external validation over internal fulfillment. We strive for status, wealth, and power, believing that these things will bring us lasting happiness. The danger lies in mistaking worldly success for true fulfillment. When we solely identify with our human nature, we lose sight of our spiritual core. We become entangled in the web of societal expectations, sacrificing our authentic selves for a fleeting sense of belonging. However, our human nature also possesses immense potential for good. We are social beings. It is through our human nature that we can engage in meaningful relationships and work towards creating a more just and compassionate world. The key lies in finding a balance between our worldly pursuits and our spiritual aspirations. We must learn to use our intellect and reason to serve a higher purpose, to contribute to something larger than ourselves. By aligning our human nature with our divine spark, we can unlock its true potential and create a life of meaning and purpose. Within each of us resides a spark of the divine, a connection to a higher power that transcends our individual existence, a possibility to raise to the highest potential, the inner desire that guides us towards a life of virtue and righteousness. It's the wellspring of our compassion, our capacity for unconditional love, a source of our self-control. This divine spark is what sets us apart from other creatures. It is the essence of our humanity, the capacity for forgiveness and courageously face adversaries. However, this aspect of ourselves is often neglected. We become so caught up in the demands of daily life, the pursuit of worldly success, that we forget to nurture our spiritual side. The divine within us yearns for expression. It calls us to live in accordance with a higher moral standard, to act with integrity, kindness, and compassion. It urges us to seek truth, to cultivate wisdom, and to contribute to the betterment of the world. When we align ourselves with this divine spark, we tap into a source of strength and wisdom that surpasses our own limited understanding. We begin to experience a profound sense of peace, joy, and interconnectedness with all things. The journey towards spiritual enlightenment is not about achieving perfection, but about striving to embody the qualities of our divine nature. It is through acts of love, forgiveness, and selfless service that we fan the flames of the divine within us and illuminate the world with its radiant light. Consider the following scenario. A man on the street witnesses a potentially fatal mugging. How he responds reveals which aspect of his threefold nature holds sway in that moment. The animal within him might urge him to flee, prioritizing self-preservation above all else. Fear takes hold, whispering that getting involved is too dangerous. This is a natural, instinctive response focused solely on personal safety. His human nature, shaped by societal norms, might lead him to call the police. He recognizes the fatality of the situation but hesitates to intervene directly. Perhaps he rationalizes that it's not his responsibility or fears legal repercussions. This response, while lawful, lacks the element of compassionate action. However, if he acts from his divine nature, a different outcome unfolds. He might intervene, even placing himself at some loss to help the victim. This selfless act stems not from logic or personal gain, but from a deep wellspring of compassion and a commitment to righteousness. This simple example illustrates the constant interplay between our threefold nature. Every decision, every action arises from this internal struggle. The path we choose to walk depends on which aspect of ourselves we choose to nourish. Nourishing the soul. Just as our physical bodies require nourishment to thrive, so too do our souls crave sustenance. However, the food of the soul is not material but spiritual. This nutritious food of the soul comes from divine nature, like roots of a tree absorb nutrients from soil. When divine nature is weak, the soul struggles to thrive. We seek fulfillment in possessions, achievements, and fleeting pleasures when our real selves are starving. To nourish our souls, we must cultivate practices that correlate with the principles of the Creator. This might involve spending time in stillness, engaging in contemplative practices like meditation or prayer, understanding the roadmap provided by the Creator, acts of service with kindness and true love of a fellow human being. When we shift our focus from our own needs to the needs of others, we tap into a wellspring of joy and fulfillment that material possessions can never provide. It is through these practices that we feed our souls, allowing them to grow and flourish. As our souls expand, so too does our capacity for love, compassion, and wisdom. We begin to see the world through a different lens, recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and our inherent responsibility to care for ourselves, each other, and the planet we inhabit. The peril of neglect, withering under material desires. When we neglect our souls, prioritizing material desires and external validation above all else, a slow withering begins to take root. We may achieve worldly success, accumulating wealth, status, and power, yet feel an emptiness gnawing at our core. This emptiness stems from a lack of spiritual nourishment. We become like plants deprived of sunlight and water, struggling to survive in a barren landscape. Our relationships suffer as we prioritize our own needs above others. We may experience anxiety, depression, and a pervasive sense of dissatisfaction with life. This is the peril of neglecting our souls. We become so focused on the pursuit of external things that we lose sight of what truly matters. We sacrifice our integrity for fleeting moments of pleasure, our compassion for the illusion of control, and our capacity for love for the false promise of security. The consequences of this neglect extend far beyond our individual lives. A society devoid of spiritual awareness is a society on the brink of collapse. It is a society consumed by greed, competition, and a disregard for the well-being of others and the planet. However, it is never too late to change course. We can choose to step off the treadmill of material pursuit and embark on a journey of inner exploration. We can begin to nourish our souls, reconnecting with our innate goodness and our capacity for love, compassion, and wisdom. The journey inward, embracing spiritual growth. The journey of spiritual growth is not a destination but a process, a lifelong exploration of our inner landscape. It is a journey of self-discovery, of shedding limiting beliefs and embracing our true nature as spiritual beings having a human experience. This journey requires us to turn our gaze inward, to confront the shadows within ourselves, and to cultivate the qualities of our divine nature. It is a process of continual learning, growth, and transformation. Along this path, we will encounter challenges and setbacks. We will be tempted to revert to old patterns of behavior, to seek comfort in the familiar rather than embrace the unknown. Yet it is through these challenges that we grow stronger, developing resilience, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. The rewards of this journey are immeasurable. As we nourish our souls, we experience a profound sense of love, peace, joy, and courage. We begin to live with greater purpose, authenticity, and compassion, not just for ourselves, but for all beings. The journey inward is not a solitary one. We are all connected, and our individual journeys of spiritual growth contribute to the collective awakening of humanity. As we embrace our divine nature and strive to live in alignment with our Creator, we inspire others to do the same. We become light in darkness, illuminating the path towards a more compassionate, just, and sustainable world.